But here becomes a challenge, though, sir, and it becomes a policy question. If the guy down at the Campbell Soup plant can't use the 5, then not only do I lose the guy who's driving down the street, I also lose the guy who's working at the Campbell Soup plant. I ultimately have an impact on the farmer who was growing the tomatoes that the cat in the truck picked up to take to the Campbell Soup plant so that the food processor could process the tomatoes and make the soup that was later taken over those same highways across the country so that other people could get soup. I'm just saying, if I replaced that whole chain of people who were working for one water quality guy, that don't make sense. And again, in my neighborhood, we have an expression: if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So I'm saying, I'm clear about the water quality issue, and I don't want to minimize it. But if I'm choosing between making sure that the road works or I maintain my existing water quality issues, that's kind of sort of, from a public benefit standpoint, a no-brainer. I mean, and if the federal government tells me that what I'm already doing is compliant with their law, then the question is, do I as California want to exceed what the federal government is requiring me to do? Which then goes back to your committee and the commission. Why are you escalating the cost in a time when I ain't got no money?
Well, once more, first off, I guess I repeat it, that what the cost of this permit is going to be at this point is unknown.
Let's make it $300 million. I mean, whatever it is that exceeds what's already being spent has to come out of somebody's ass pocket, right? So if it's $300 million, if it's $900 million, if it's $150 million, at some point we're going to take money that's currently doing something, and there's a chain of employment that's in what's currently being done. I'm saying that what you're providing out of that doesn't necessarily produce, or it could. Maybe then I need an analysis that would show that if I spent $150 million in the water quality, that I would get the same economic return that I get from fixing the road. Maybe it's true that I would, at which point we could have a different discussion. But all that I've seen thus far doesn't indicate that.
The exact cost of what this permit is going to entail is unknown at this point, because we are still in the discussion with Caltrans as to what that permit should look like.
But listen to what you just described. Okay, now let's go back. I'm the guy at Campbell Soup, and I'm the trucker driving on the road. So I'm looking at a cost, if I'm taking SEEB's number that was in your slide, there's a cost increase that's somewhere between 90% and 2,000%, because they too couldn't determine what it was. So the range between 90 and 2,000 is a pretty big gap. But if that's what we're looking at and you're thinking about doing business in California, now you just put a big question mark over anybody who's ever thought about that they might want to play. Because if that cost is going to come back to them in the form of an increase for his or her permit, and I don't know what it's going to be, and I'm going to get potentially a notice about it later on, and then your current system, as I understand it, is that the board members can't talk with the affected people, so that the only people who you have real negotiations with are the people who we would call in a courtroom. They're not real parties of